Let's find out how much this $119 component can offer you in price to sound quality ratio. Hello everyone, welcome to Tabama Hi-Fi Review channel. Today I would like to share my experience of using this recently released top-end DX1 II DAC headphone stage with pre-gain stage that it can be used, as well as PEQ internet DSP setting that you can manipulate and fine-tune it to the way you like it using top-end software that you have to access from USB connection. This one is only using USB power supply, so that is going to be a little bit of pros and cons on that one. Only one USB input. There is no dedicated power input or power supply that come with this unit, but this one has optical in and optical out. So that is one of the very rare thing that you will find, especially in this price point. It has 4.4 millimeter balanced output as well as RCA outputs in the back. In front, it has 3.5 and 4.4 millimeter balanced headphone outputs. Volume control is digital volume control. Internet gain stage and everything is designed in super compact size using ESS9039Q2M chip inside. Headphone stage can put out 1000 milliwatt of power at 32 ohm load. So on the paper, that is incredible numbers, but I will get to that later. So price is only $119. You can use it as a pre-DAC gain stage that you can control with your power amp or even your power active monitors, which how I started using it on my desktop setup, apparently with Yamaha HS5 controlling gain from DX1 II connected with my Mac Studio. So I edited some audio and videos, no latency issue at all. So if you are thinking of using desktop headphone stage or pre-gain stage and DAC that you can use in small size, this could be it. Quiet background. This one has good amount of power, but all those powers are dynamic power. So after that, I started using this DX1 II with some of my headphones. I started off with Mezi Audio Silver, which is 32 ohm headphone that I try open back dynamic driver with this DX1 II. Mesmerizing, beautiful sounding experience. I was streaming Navid Drone music server that I set up with Linux system. Absolutely quiet background. Mezi Audio server and this DX1 II has great synergy for my taste. I enjoy my music, monitor my own voice, and it works great. After that, I started using my monitor reference Sony MDR7506, listening my own voice while I'm monitoring. It sounds accurate. That combination, I try some music as well. Not to the level of Mezi Audio server kind of sound in refinements and all those areas, but it get the job done in transparent, engaging sound with very good bass delivery and dynamic attack that I can enjoy. Although it can get a bit bright in upper range of frequencies, especially highest parts of mids and above. So those areas can be a bit bright and lose a little bit of refinements with some music. After that, I try Variant 1. I would say it doesn't really have good control over those planar magnetic 8 ohm 95 dB open back design. It has spacious and dynamic sound. Bass quality, it's something left to desire. It's not up to some of my reference headphone stages, but even with ported pads that I'm using with Variant 1. Bass quality and control is a bit light and not enough control in that combination, as well as upper range of frequency can be a bit fatiguing for my taste. So that is but overall experience is pretty good. And after that, I started using Ground Audio OAE to open back design as well. When it's come to that combination, it's too laid back. There's not enough dynamic power to control the headphone either, regardless of the impedance and sensitivity rating. I didn't enjoy the setup. I went through a few songs and I was like, okay, let's move on. And I tried my very old headphone, Audio-Technica ADHM50, enjoyable sound signature in that combination. But it doesn't have enough dynamically engaging sound with realistic feeling. I tried 5 different over-the-ear headphones. After that, I pulled out my vintage TDK BA200 IEMs. It sounded flat, not engaging at all in that combination. So I tried all the headphones, and out of all of them, my favorite pairing in headphones that I try with is, my first one will be Mezzi Audio Silver. My second one is Sony MDR 7506, and third is Variant 1, as you can see on the screen. So price is incredibly good for $119 that we can get. Sound quality that we are getting is clean, transparent, spacious sound with good dynamic attack when you pair it right for the headphone stages. But power delivery especially is totally noticeable when I'm driving Variant 1 kind of headphones. It just totally hit the brick wall of limitation of USB power supply. Using USB power supply is really good option for this kind of small devices, but it has a limitation because from the wall through USB-C power supply, it's only getting 5-volt power from the wall. So internally, after regulation and voltage conversion and all that combined, probably you will get like 7.5 watts. So out of that 7.5 watts, probably like 3 to 3.5 watts go to rest of the component, like it has to power DAC. The volume control knob is digital as well as screen. All those gonna share that power. And after all that, we got left with probably 4 or 4.5 watts of power in there to use with headphone stage. So that is the current limiting factor of USB brick wall that it's keep on hitting. That's why, regardless of the impedance rating or sensitivity rating, some of the headphones have problem, using it. Not problem, the sound quality and drivability and like control, especially in bass delivery and those area. Some of the headphones, it can't even open up. So those are the area that we have to keep in mind. 1,000 milliwatts looks great on the paper. The power delivery gonna fall back to probably 50-60% of rated output. That is gonna be continuous RMS power. So realistically, we are looking around like 65% of RMS power out of that rated output. So that's how I would put it. But $119 component, I just want to be realistic, right? We are not getting 1,000 milliwatts of power all the time. So that is the reality. Headphone stage itself is transparent. Only thing that we have to deal with, if you like it, you'll be fine. But that is ESS sound signature. A little bit of brightness that you will notice no matter what type of headphone you use, unless you are totally used to that sound. It has dynamic and clean sounding with very good resolution. I tried DST PCM high-res online streaming using Cobus, and everything works flawlessly. Only slight downside may experience with if you are using USB input from your NAS to this DX1 Mark II. when that resolution changes, it's gonna have a slight pop. Nothing major, either headphone stage or line out stage, tiny bit. Other than that, always quiet. If you have a mixed playlist like I do, then you will hear a tiny bit. So I try headphone stage, line output stage using balanced 4.4 to wide XLR to my studio monitor. It works flawlessly. After that, when I started using here in my main system, I connected using ASD6 and plus silver RCA cable to Accuface E4000, using it with this Unbeatable focus stand mount speaker or my main reference Pioneer T80 design S1EX towers, both using ASD6 and plus silver speaker wires. Clean and neutral sounding. Although high frequency, I would like a little bit more media tone to it. Other than that, no problem listening to it. When I switch over to my main reference speaker, I started listening all my reference tracks, and I find it to be enjoyable to listen. DSD quality properly redeliver. Most of the time I use USB input, but I also try optical input connecting with this Eversolo T10 streaming digital transport, and it sounded beautifully and cleanly when I'm trying Cobus or Tidal online streaming, as well as internet drive that I added there. So sound quality itself is neutral and transparent sound with good mid-range quality. Bass delivery, it's get the job done, but not to the level of I want to hear, but it's only $119 component, so I can look over. But upper range of frequency, I still experience a little bit of brightness for my taste. Another thing is operation temperature of this DX1 Mark II. When you use it all in one with driving headphones, it can get pretty warm. But when I'm using line level output only, totally cool to touch. So this is just an entry level price point of $119. We are getting good sound quality, good amount of power for your headphone stage, very quiet delivery or line level output if you want to use with active speakers or even power amp. DX1 Mark II is for those of you looking to get entry-level component can do it all. DAC and all-in-one component that get the job done. Plus, you can do custom BEQ setting through top-end software using USB connection. Those are all the options that come available, plus included custom remote control that you can control pretty much everything. Price and sound quality, power delivery that we are getting is a steal. So totally recommended, my friend. Thank you for watching and happy listening.
Sky, it's the color of love. There must have been an angel by my side. Something heavenly came from above. He led me to you. He led me to you. He built the bridge to your heart all the way. How many times have lived inside? Oh, I can't say. When I was led to you. You were the one for He better press you your heart all the way and let it lay and let it bite. How many times I've looked inside now I can't say I did it. You gave me the kiss of life, kiss of life. You gave me the kiss that's life, kiss of life. So great. On the bass, Mr. Korigoe Keisuke-san. On the guitar, Orima Yosuke-san. Yeah.